And Ambassador Mohan Kumar, former senior diplomat, joins us on the show on the Prime Minister's just concluded visit to Kuwait. Thank you, Ambassador Kumar, for taking our time. My first question, why is this visit important? Why wouldn't an Indian Prime Minister visit a key Gulf country for 43 years? Why now? And what is the significance of this visit?
So thank you very much for having me. And I think those are a series of very important questions. I think the Prime Minister himself put it brutally, frankly, by saying that Kuwait is exactly 4 hours from India, and it took 40 years for an Indian Prime Minister to set foot in Kuwait. So my initial comment is better late than never. But there are a combination of reasons why I think this has been a delayed kind of affair, but you have to be happy that better late than never. I think you have to go back to 1990 when Iraq invaded Kuwait. And I think we were reluctant to condemn the invasion. We were reluctant to side with Kuwait. There was a variety of reasons. I don't want to get into it, but that cast a pall on the relationship for a substantially long time. So that's the reason number one.
Okay.
The reason number two, I think, is frankly, it's a lack of resources from our side. It's not possible for the Prime Minister to do everything himself. He is already following a punishing schedule. So I think there was the moment which was right at this time for the establishment of a strategic partnership. So while I agree with you that we have lost considerable time, I think it's better late than never. I'm particularly pleased that we have chosen to elevate the relationship to a strategic partnership, because as you rightly hint in your question, why wouldn't you want a strategic partnership with a country with which you have a $10 billion trade, a country which invests 10 billion US dollars in your economy, the sixth largest crude oil supplier to your country, and a country which hosts 1 million people who are Indian passport holders. So it beggars belief that we took such a long time. But Amritpal, we just have to be grateful that we have done it now. And I think it's fantastic that the Prime Minister has chosen to go at this time. He has got the highest award conferred on him by the Kuwaiti leadership. I think there is also enthusiasm from the Kuwaiti side for an upgradation in the relationship. So it seems to me all the factors have finally come together for really reinvigorating what I believe is a key country in the Gulf Cooperation Council.
True. Ambassador Kumar, also the Kuwaitis have the money. You are growing, your infrastructure is growing, you need investments to grow, you have the talent pool. You were talking about the 1 million workforce there, which is about 20%, 21% of their total population and 30% of their workforce. So that should work. I mean, you seem to be natural allies. They have what you need, you have what they need.
Oh, absolutely, without a doubt. In fact, the Prime Minister made a reference to it when he said that Viksit Bharat from India actually ties in with the new Kuwait program of 2035. There is a program, or there is a plan that has been announced by the Kuwaitis saying that by 2035, they want to do a series of things. Just to give you two examples. For example, they want to be a hub for trade and investment. And there, I think we have decided that we will try and set up pharmaceutical factories in Kuwait. Kuwait will set up food parks in India, and Kuwait will also try to invest in IT and energy sectors, so that in energy, instead of a buyer-seller relationship that we have had up until now, the idea is to promote investments so that both upstreaming and downstreaming can be done in India, and we can discuss the possibility of Kuwait playing an important role in India's strategic petroleum reserve. So you are quite right. There is so much of synergy now between the two countries. Also bear in mind that India has just begun to take off now economically in terms of investment, in terms of economic growth. That is also a factor for Kuwait. Kuwait has put on record that India has made decisions to make investment easier. The Kuwaiti Sovereign Wealth Fund is one of the biggest in the world. So, really, investment can be expected to play an important role. And as you rightly say, it's two-way investment. It's not just from Kuwait to India, but also from India to Kuwait.
Ambassador, the significance of the defense cooperation MOU or agreement that was signed, where are the convergences? Why do we need defense cooperation?
A very good question. And frankly, you cannot have a strategic partnership if defense and security do not play a key role. I think what you have to understand is that there is now a meeting of mind between the Gulf Cooperation Council countries and India. I would like to draw the attention of your audience to the fact that the first ever strategic dialogue between the GCC and India took place in Riyadh in October of this year. So that is the first point I would like to make. The second point is Kuwait itself is extremely concerned about what is happening in the region. They would like to join hands with like-minded countries like India and try to do things like joint exercises, military training, and even supply of defense equipment. So those are the three key areas that we have mentioned when we have signed the MOU on defense. And in all these areas, there are synergies between the two countries. It's well known that India can train military personnel. We do military training for a number of countries, and Kuwait will be added to that list. Second, we would like to actually encourage supply of defense equipment to India and to Kuwait by both countries. So that is an area where both countries can work together. But frankly, I cannot remember we signing a joint statement with any Gulf country recently which mentions cross-border terrorism. There is a mention of cross-border terrorism. 10 years, 15 years ago, a country in the GCC would have completely refused to sign a joint agreement if joint statement if there was cross-border terrorism. But the fact is the world has changed so much, and there is so much of commonality in the view on terrorism between Kuwait and India that today it's almost as if normally the two countries are signing joint statements which talk of a common view on terrorism. So I would say that it is the common threats faced out of terrorism, the military exercises which can be done between the two countries, the training that we can provide. That is why it was thought fit to sign an MOU on defense.
Okay. Ambassador Kumar, a country whose economy's fundamentals are based on fossil fuels, joins the International Solar Alliance when the Prime Minister of a founder country of the ISA visits. Is that a shift towards sustainable energy future?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. If you look at the Plan 2035 vision of Kuwait, one of the pillars of that plan is to reduce dependence on fossil fuels. Kuwait knows and realizes that oil cannot last forever. They have to diversify. And as part of the diversification, India can provide opportunities for Kuwait. One such is the International Solar Alliance, but also going forward, there can be mutual agreements and mutual exchange of views even on development of solar power. After all, both India and Kuwait enjoy sunshine most of the year. So it should be perfectly possible for countries like UAE and India to share technology, share investment, share good practices when it comes to development of renewable energy in general and solar power in particular.
Ambassador Mohan Kumar, I'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show, and thank you for lending us your insights.